Let me put forward a pressing question. Is it possible for an artist to tread the tightrope between pure provocation and enlightenment through their work?
Interesting question, Andrew. And it reminds me of someone who does exactly that, Kara Walker. It's an intriguing gray area she navigates, isn't it?
Absolutely, Jiwoo. One could argue that she not just navigates, but masters it. With the audacity to confront disturbing yet vital themes such as race, gender, and violence, I believe Walker has found her own unique voice in the art world.
And she does that through her art, which is brutally honest and fearless in its confrontation, right?
Exactly, Jiwoo. It's a signature move of hers to use her work as a medium to stimulate thought, to wake us up from our blissful ignorance and stare at the truth in all its grotesque nature.
It's somewhat unsettling yet enlightening. Her work does pose a question on the very definition of art, don't you think?
True, Jiwoo. It brings us full circle to wonder, can art, in the guise of being mere expression, actually have the power to catalyze societal change? And in asking these questions, I think, lies the power of Walker's work. Considering her pieces, there's clearly a profound story being told with every stroke. Do you know anything about Walker's early years, Jiwoo?
Only bits and pieces, Andrew. She was born in Stockton, California and moved to Atlanta at just 13. From what I've read, that move drastically altered her perspective and might have even sowed the seeds of her artistic expression.
Indeed, the transition from multicultural California to the racially charged South must have been a formative part of Walker's youth. It's evident in what she strives to communicate through her art.
Atlanta is also where she attended a visual art-focused institution, right? The Atlanta College of Art, if my memory serves me correctly. Must have been quite the journey since then.
Remarkably so, but that was just the beginning. Following the completion of her bachelor's, Walker made her way to Rhode Island School of Design for master's. It was there that she started to bring forth her current style and themes.
I can only imagine the kind of profound shift it would have taken to redefine her art in such a groundbreaking manner. To evolve in a way that has arguably positioned her as one of the most innovative artists of our time.
Incredible indeed. What's equally compelling is her interaction with the art community. Did you know she was one of the youngest recipients of the MacArthur Genius Grant? At just 28. Kara Walker's work speaks volumes about our history. It's almost as if we can trace her own evolution along with the evolution of her art.
Very perceptive, Andrew. I wonder, do you know of any significant life events of hers that might have influenced her art?
Well, Jiwoo, her relocation to the South in her teens notably transformed her perspective. Such a drastic cultural shift likely sparked the first embers of her artistic ingeniosity.
Her art also seems to have undergone considerable transformation as she further engaged with the art community, particularly as a young recipient of the MacArthur Genius Grant.
That's true. Her artistic journey is so intertwined with her life trajectory, yet another testament to the power that art holds in reflecting societal narratives.
It's incredibly fascinating how her themes appear consistent throughout her career. From her early days to now, race, gender, and violence have remained a constant in Walker's art. Do you think these are directly linked to her own experiences, Andrew?
Perhaps. An artist's work is an extension of their lived experiences. The intimate relationship between race, gender, and violence in Walker's artwork could indeed stem from her personal encounters with these societal constructs.
It's amazing how she deftly uses her own experiences to challenge and provoke societal norms. That motivates us as viewers to introspect and question.
And in doing so, she not only offers us a visual treat, but also an intellectually stimulating experience. They say art is a reflection of life, but in Walker's case, her art seems to be a reflection of societal introspection. Consider the plethora of exhibitions Walker has had over her career. She's faced controversies and tough decisions aplenty, all while challenging norms that have been in place for centuries.
Absolutely, Andrew. She's never hesitated to confront her critics head-on. A particular exhibition that comes to mind was her A Subtlety exhibit, unveiled at the Domino Sugar Factory. Walker erected a sugar-coated sphinx-like structure, which symbolized the sugar industry's deep ties to slave labor.
That's an excellent reference, Jiwoo. The exhibit was both large-scale and incredibly detail-oriented, and it stirred quite a lot of debate. While some hailed it as a poignant critique of racial and economic injustice, Others were taken aback by the monumental sugar figure.
Walker has never been one to shy away from causing a stir. Remember the My Compliment controversy? Her exploration of violence, especially against African American women, was fiercely debated. Her decision to depict horrors so graphically was seen as shocking by many.
True, Jiwoo. People often misinterpret her work as promoting those ill practices rather than criticizing them. But we should remember that the purpose of such depictions was to initiate a conversation about the brutal past.
Her critics argue that her work might reinforce harmful racial stereotypes, yet she perseveres, continuing to push the boundaries, undeterred by the backlash. Such resilience is reflective of her commitment to her artistic mission to provoke thought and instigate change.
She sure is intense. Moreover, she moves from one approach to another with ease. From her now iconic silhouettes to her installations, Walker has explored varied mediums and proven her versatility.
On a different note, Andrew, it seems like her transformation over the years, given her experiences with her exhibitions and the controversies, has been profound. Do you think these experiences have changed her approach to her art?
It's possible, Jiwoo, but regardless of her evolving expressions, her themes have stayed consistent. She continues to confront and question the structures around race and history. Let's delve into Walker's emblematic black silhouettes, Jiwoo. These pieces are bold, unapologetic, and force us to confront uncomfortable realities. What's interesting to me is how she evolved this style. What do you think could have led her to choose silhouettes as her medium?
That's a great question, Andrew. If you think about it, the silhouette art form has its roots in portraiture, historically used to depict royalty and aristocracy. The style simplifies the subject down to its most basic form, its outline. It takes away facial features and expressions, thus removing any personal or individualistic aspects.
But Walker breathes a new life into this traditional form. Each object and figure, even though only a shadow, has a story to tell. The medium that was once employed to depict social status and wealth, she now uses to project scenes of slavery and historical injustices.
Exactly. Through the anonymity the silhouette provides, Walker allows us to focus our attention on the actions and experiences of her subjects, rather than their unique identities. It's like she's saying, look at the narrative, not the individual. In this manner, she creates a powerful commentary on the collective experience of an entire demographic.
I find it fascinating how her silhouettes present deeply disturbing, yet historical narratives. They are dark and disturbing, but I can't ignore their profound, deep-rooted relevance. It's a paradox that leaves me feeling both intrigued and uncomfortable.
Indeed, Andrew. It's as if her silhouettes are like open wounds of history, raw, gaping, and festering. Yet, they are also a celebration of resilience and survival. This may be why her work resonates worldwide, as it sheds light on the shadowy corners and hidden stories of our collective past.
So following on Jiwoo, Walker revolutionized the silhouette art. It's no longer about a demure profile image, it's art with statement.
Absolutely, Andrew. She took a traditional form that was once dominated by the wealthy aristocracy and turned it on its head, using it to highlight the disparity between societal norms and the reality. We can't ignore how this challenges our perception of art and the societal norms.
For sure, I'm intrigued by her unconventional take on this art form. What factors do you think influenced her stylistic decisions?
It's hard to say definitively, as Walker doesn't comment a lot on her own work. But I think part of it is the simple fact that with silhouette art, you remove individuality, forcing viewers to see her subjects as symbols rather than individuals. This might be her way to enable us to focus on the collective experience of racial discrimination and violence she's addressing.
That is a powerful remark, Jiwoo. Classically, silhouettes were used in a much delicate and straightforward way, but Walker twists this form into grotesque and confrontational scenes that are hard to forget. It's as if she is harnessing shock value of her subject to latch onto viewers' minds.
Yes, and what strikes me is that even when she's creating these disturbing scenes, she always maintains a level of elegance. Something I find absolutely unique, and surely a part of Walker's genius.
Walker's art teems with edge-cutting themes: race, gender, violence. These subjects stand naked in her silhouette creations, and to me, she's empowering viewers to confront these societal issues head-on. Do you think she had to weigh the risks of venturing into such potent themes?
I think that's an important point, Andrew. Undoubtedly, tackling gritty topics head-on, especially as a woman of color herself, must come with its own hazards. A misstep in nuanced approach could potentially lead to heavy criticism or even ostracization within the art community and the public at large against her.
That's something I'd be worried about myself. Now, despite these dreadful challenges, do you reckon there are rewards in addressing such touchy subjects?
Certainly. For Walker, her art acts as an essential critique of historical and current societal norms, which can have far-reaching effects. An artist's platform can also work as an avenue for conversation around topics often muddy and difficult to approach. Furthermore, tackling such potent themes has positioned Walker as one of the boldest voices in the art community. In my view, Andrew, there is a certain inherent reward in this bravery, reflection, and conversation that, despite being wounding, can be incredibly enriching.
Jiwoo, let's consider Walker's use of humor, irony, and satire in her works. These seemingly lighthearted devices often act as a mask for pain, don't they?
Andrew, you've brought up a thoughtful observation. As odd as it may sound, Walker's art pieces are indeed often layered with a wry humor. For example, in her work, Endless Conundrum, an African anonymous adventuress, a giant figure playfully transforms into varying grotesque caricatures through a series of silhouette cutouts. This is Walker's parody of society's stereotyped assumptions, no?
Indeed, her satire there is unmissable, Jiwoo. But how do you interpret her use of irony there?
Walker cleverly deploys irony to subvert the usual power dynamics. Although the silhouettes appear playful, they hide a much darker narrative underneath, revealing the stark realities of violence, racism, and sexual expression.
Interesting. The dissonance between the irony and the reality of her themes strikes me as ingenious craftsmanship. It charts out a new path, doesn't it, Jiwoo?
Absolutely, Andrew. By contrasting her art's expressive brevity with complexity of themes, Walker expands the boundaries of communication, making us question what art can or should convey.
Jiwoo, Walker's art doesn't just depict history, it challenges it, and in some ways, redefines it. What are your thoughts on this?
Andrew, you've accurately pointed out the crux of Walker's art. Her work, Insurrection, Our Tools Were Rudimentary, Yet We Pressed On, is a great embodiment of that. The work depicts a fictional event of slave rebellion. Yet, through this portrayal, Walker questions the accuracy of historical narratives and the authenticity of dominant discourses on these issues. Her work dislocates the notion of historical fact and fiction.
I agree, Jiwoo. Her silhouettes, with their interplay of black and white, light and dark, past and present, literal and symbolic, are a testament to her artistic genius. It's an honest depiction, but also a critique of the history of slavery and racism.
Yes, and by brutally honest, we're also referring to Walker's daring ability to depict the grotesque aspects of early American-era violence. Many people can find this unsettling, but does that discomfort provide a necessary jolt to the underpinnings of our historical understanding?
That's a worthy question, Jiwoo. For Walker, it seems, the essence of honesty doesn't end at mere revelation. It extends to challenging the established narratives, disrupting our comfort zones, forcing us to look at the disturbing realities we often like to ignore.
Absolutely. So brings us back to the question, do we perhaps need such brutal honesty in our art? It bridges the gap between the glossed-over past and our understanding of it, presenting the unrefined reflections of society.
Yes, exactly, Jiwoo. This is why Walker's work holds such strong relevance. It carries forward the tradition of artists who use their art to question history, unsettling those established narratives. And in doing so, it nudges us to redefine our understanding of these histories, thus fulfilling art's role as a mirror to society. So, Jiwoo, considering the public's reactions to Walker's art, I haven't found a clear consensus. Some laud her unflinching depictions, while others have been shocked and even outraged by them. Do you think this polarization has affected her work or her intention to communicate certain narratives?
That's tricky, Andrew. Walker's art certainly is a lightning rod for intense reactions due to its confrontational nature. It's designed to spark discussion and confront uncomfortable truths. In fact, it could be argued that the controversy actually fuels her impact because it triggers intense dialogues about race, history, and gender that might not otherwise occur.
Right, that's a fair point, and it does show in the prominence and resonance her work has attained. However, let's discuss the expert opinions on her work. How do art critics and scholars consider her pieces?
Well, she's largely celebrated in the art world, particularly for her bravery in tackling themes often left untouched. Critics consider her work a bold critique of historical narratives and societal norms. Her unique fusion of silhouette art with confronting subjects is appreciated for its originality and compelling storytelling.
Has Kara Walker ever made a statement about these reactions? Has she discussed how she perceives the public's varied opinions?
I recall an interview where Walker shared that she views these reactions as an extension of the discourse that her art intends to instigate. She seems unwavered by it, emphasizing that it's crucial to confront dark aspects of our history in order to process and understand them.
So, it seems the controversial nature of her work is in fact a testament to its effect in instigating a dialogue. There's a popular saying that great art should comfort the disturbed and disturb the comfortable, and Walker's work surely seems to be doing that. Don't you think so, Jiwoo?
Definitely. And I think that is precisely why her art is so important. It demands our attention and asks us to question our understanding of history and societal norms. The fact that it invokes such strong reactions just attests to its pertinence.
What really strikes me about Walker's work is her technique. The way she generates these emotion-packed narratives through the intimate craft of cut paper silhouette art is truly awe-inspiring. Wouldn't you agree, Jiwoo?
Yes, the silhouette art is impactful because its simplicity cuts to the core of the issues she's trying to address. But I must say, it isn't merely about the silhouette. The real magic begins when she starts to arrange these cutouts into a narrative.
Absolutely. The emphasis on space, the framing and perspectives speak as loudly as the silhouette itself. It's an orchestra of visual elements, each performing a vital role in delivering her message. It's arresting.
I'm particularly intrigued by her usage of scale. Some works are so massive, they engulf the viewer and build that immediate sense of imposition and confrontation. Then there are smaller works which demand a step closer, like a whisper, just as intimate and jarring.
Oh yes, I can only imagine the thrill of coming face to face with her creations in an exhibition. Moreover, her choice of color, or rather the starkness of black and white, adds another layer to this representation. It's so profound.
In a sense, her choice of monochrome is a reflection of the societal norms she's challenging. We cannot ignore the intentional symbolism behind the black silhouette set against white backgrounds. It's her visual statement on racial hierarchy, static historical viewpoints, and this binary we live in.
What's also interesting is how each work revolves around a central theme. There is no ambiguity in knowing what story she is sharing. It serves almost like a chapter in a novel, each one linked to the other, yet capable of standing alone.
True, such committed representation demonstrates her deep-rooted belief in what she is addressing, and her dedication to the thematic consistency. Its richness lies in its intention, executed with keen precision, and artistic integrity.
Why is art like Walker's necessary in our world today? In your opinion, Jiwoo?
Art like Walker's challenges stereotypes and questions societal norms and historical viewpoints. It offers a space for younger artists and even the general public to reflect on their perceptions and question their beliefs.
So you're saying that the value of Walker's work is in awakening discourse, shining a different light on truths that have long been shrouded in shadow.
Exactly, Andrew. Her work resonates especially with younger artists who see the potency of art as a medium of social commentary. Walker's dedication to tackling potent issues.
It allows them to imagine the possibilities. It nudges them to take their own stands and voice their own perspectives. Paves the way for artistic activism, don't you think, Jiwoo?
Yes, activism that uses art to foster change. Art shouldn't be confined to beauty alone. It should make you feel, reflect, and potentially incite change. That is the essence of artistic activism. Walker's fearlessness has emboldened younger generation artists, acting as a beacon guiding them in their own confrontation with societal issues.
And the ripple effects don't just stop in the art world. I'd say Walker's influence resonates in the way we frame conversations, the way we approach history, gender, and race.
Yes, the ripples are making waves far beyond the confines of the art world. It's a testament to the power of art and the influence of an inspiring artist. Walker's not just contributing to the dialogue, she's amplifying it and leaving a lasting impact.
Let's step into the personal realm of Walker Jiwoo. It's often through the crucible of personal struggles that an artist's vision sharpens.
True, many artists channel their pain and triumphs into their work, giving it a raw and personal edge. Walker's life has been beset by struggles, often pertaining to the same themes that recur in her art.
Right, and these struggles, they resonate within her body of work. You feel the weight of her experiences, rooting for her, empathizing with her. Yet, amidst the weighty themes of her work, there were victories too.
She's received numerous awards, hasn't she? Her work has played a critical part in opening dialogue about race and history.
Absolutely. While she brought unflinching honesty to her work, her awards must have served as beacons of hope. In fact, Walker was the recipient of a MacArthur Foundation Genius Grant at the age of just 28. Astounding, isn't it?
That's amazing. It's a testament to her talent and courage, and proves she rightly earned a place in art history. However, such spotlight also amplified scrutiny of her work from the public. I wonder how she handled that kind of pressure.
That's a good question. Art serves as a mirror for society, and society often finds it hard to confront its own reflection. As an artist myself, the constant scrutiny can sometimes cast long shadows.
Kara Walker painted those shadows with unyielding honesty. Her courage and determination herald a triumph of her resilience. Whether celebrated or challenged, she continued to raise fundamental questions through her art.
Okay, Jiwoo, let's pivot slightly and consider Walker's work, not just as an expression of her personal journey, but from broader perspective of its impact on society. Does it provoke a reaction or enlighten us?
That's tricky, Andrew. In fact, Walker's art seems to sit in an ambiguous interstice between provocation and enlightenment. It is provocative because it urges us to confront the stark realities of history and society. It is enlightening because it challenges our perceptions and propels us to dig deeper about the themes she depicts.
Absolutely. The incredible weight of her work can either unsettle the viewer or enlighten us about societal norms that we unconsciously adhere to. The dark themes and stark imagery, especially her black silhouettes, are honestly hard to digest. But is that where the enlightenment comes from?
I think so, Andrew. If we consider art as conversation, then Walker's work is definitely having a dialogue with us. It questions our existing ideologies, and if it baffles us, that's because perhaps it's forcing us to question our stereotypes or our accepted narratives about history, race, and gender. It's unsettling, yet enlightening.
A dialogue. I like that thought, Jiwoo. It's like her artwork is talking to us, yes? Stirring our complacency, prodding us to question, and also to learn. Walker is engaging us in discourse, much like other revolutionary artists throughout history. However, the balance she strikes, it's different, isn't it?
It is, Andrew. Unlike other historical revolutionary artists whose works led to movements or established schools of thought, Walker's work seems to be more about sparking dialogues. It feels more intimate, personal. It's not about following a particular thread but weaving a myriad of narratives into one. She seems less consumed with creating a legacy and more focused on wielding her art as a potent instrument for truth-telling. Now, Andrew, approaching the end of our discussion, one question lingers in my mind. What can we expect from the future of Walker's art?
Well, Jiwoo, that's hard to accurately predict given art is a continuous process of evolution. But if her past works are any indications, we can anticipate Walker tackling more historical and social narratives, perhaps in a more audacious manner, if that's even possible.
And what about the transformation of her art forms? She has ventured from silhouettes to installations and even film. Can we foresee her exploring new media?
Absolutely, Jiwoo. Walker's courageous exploration of various forms marks her as a truly versatile artist. I wouldn't be surprised to see her breaking more boundaries, testing new canvases for her thought-provoking narratives.
It will indeed be fascinating to watch the shift in her narrative style, medium, and presentation. Andrew, do you think she'll continue to focus on racial themes, or might we see a branching out to other pressing societal themes?
It's possible, Jiwoo. Given the massive resonance of Walker's art, it holds the potential for kick-starting dialogues on a variety of subjects. It's all part of the creative trajectory for an artist like Walker, forever curious, always pushing boundaries.
And her upcoming exhibitions. I'm keen to see how these narratives will unfold and continue to stimulate our thoughts.
Indeed, Walker's upcoming exhibitions will no doubt continue to be a mirror to society, unmasking painful truths through her unique narrative threads. Above all, I think we can look forward to Walker continually using art as a tool for provocation, commentary, and change.